Hey guys, what's up? How are you? Hope you guys are having an amazing one today. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Jarrell, and in today's video we are going to be trying the new palette from Makeup by Mario. This is called the Ethereal Eyes Nature palette, and we're going to be comparing it with the other ones. We're going to do some swatches, of course, create some looks with this palette. So let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already. You can also like and comment down below because that definitely helps out my channel so much, and I'm trying to get to 10K before the end of the year, and we are moving forward. So yeah, super excited. Let's go ahead and get into the video. So here we have the box that it comes in, and by the way, this little name right here that is engraved in the box, I think that is super cute, and it makes me feel like I was receiving PR from Makeup by Mario, you know. We can always dream, right? Here we have the eyeshadow palette, and it's called the Ethereal Eyes Nature. It does have a shelf life of 12 months, and it's made in the USA. I kind of been forgetting to say that in my previous reviews that I've been doing. I've just been going straight to the product, but anyways, I did purchase mine directly from the Sephora website, and it cost me $69. If you are into makeup, you probably already seen this palette in Instagram, TikTok, and in other videos here on YouTube, because these girls, they work super fast, and I'm so happy because then you guys get to see different reviews, different perspective from different people, which I absolutely love that. But anyways, here we have the eyeshadow palette. I am not going to lie to you guys, I really do like these colors once I apply them to the eyes, but the color story wouldn't be like my first kind of color story that I pick for myself. I do really enjoy this 3 mattes right here, like for every single day. I mean, you have your essential shades for sure. So I did open up the eyeshadow palette yesterday just to make sure that it wasn't broken. I wasn't super wow with the palette at first glance, so I am going to now play with it. Let's go ahead and swatch it, just because swatching the palette, it actually helps me out on putting kind of looks together, and also just kind of makes me feel the texture of the eyeshadows, and just helps me out with the whole entire process, and you know, like just inspiration of the whole entire video. So let's go ahead and swatch this palette, but first let's go ahead and just put it side by side with the other eyeshadow palettes that I do have from his collection. The #1 palette, of course, the super love palette. This one is the first one. Man, when this one came out, it was like so absolutely good, right? I mean, we were all super happy and super hyped just because the color story is like so neutral, but the shimmer shades are just so beautiful and ethereal, like absolutely stunning. So here we have the original palette, and here we have the nature palette side by side. So here we have, okay, I'm trying to be super careful because I'm not trying to drop any of these palettes because I always drop makeup. But here we have the Ethereal Eyes in Moonlight, and here we have the nature palette. So let's go ahead and swatch them row by row. This one is like a shimmery shadow, like a matte with a shimmer. This one definitely feels a little bit more slippery, more glossy for sure. Same texture on this third one, and here we have a matte shadow, which I am super excited for that one because it does have a little bit more like yellow in the undertone, which I absolutely adore. So here we have the first 4 shades. Go ahead and do the next row, which seems to be a little bit more on the like pinky side. Here we have the matte, another of the shimmery shade. It does have a little bit more slippiness to it, but they're not like the first ones that I swatched. This one as well, you can tell that it's a different formula. And then we have the matte eyeshadow. Let me just make sure that I'm not putting it on top of the other one. Yeah, when I'm swatching the palette, it's definitely not making me feel the feels, if you know what I mean. Like when you swatch a palette, it just makes you feel super excited. So let's continue. But anyways, let's go ahead and now move on to the next row. Same feelings with this one. This one does feel a little bit more stiff versus this one. It's a little bit more gliding. Okay, and the matte eyeshadow definitely have like more grab to it, more texture to it. I mean, you can see it, the pinky right there. It definitely has a lot of pigment. So let's go ahead and now swatch the rest of the palette. Hopefully my camera is catching it and not focusing on my face. All right, so here we have the palette. Now let me go ahead and prime my eyes. I am going to be using my Nars eyeshadow primer. I feel like it makes a huge difference whenever I do apply an eyeshadow primer versus when I don't. So I am going to use the Nars eyeshadow primer. This is new to my collection. This will be my third, fourth time that I'm actually using it, and so far it's absolutely beautiful. It is a little bit more clear, like it just kind of see through, so it doesn't color correct. So if you do have some darkness that you actually want to even out, then you can actually mix it with your concealer, and then that way it will be like eyeshadow proof because it does have the eyeshadow primer. I'm going to use my finger just to make sure that it's really nice and blend out, and I'm going to bring it also on my lower lashes because I will be applying some shadows to my lower lash. So I am going to be using my What's Up Beauty brushes. I love these brushes. I actually just purchased them for my makeup kit as well. They are just so good. Very similar to the rougher brushes. I do not have an affiliated code with them nor a discount code. I do apologize for that. But this palette does have a really nice, beautiful big mirror, which I absolutely love so much. I am going to be taking the What's Up Beauty R103 brush, and I'm going to use this shade right here, and this is going to be my transition shade. I'm going to add it to my lower lashes in the outer corner, and I'm going to start bringing it up. So it really does look a little light in the pan, but it is showing up on my skin. It's maybe like about a shade and a half darker than my skin tone. So I'm going to use this shade as my transition shade, and I'm going to try to avoid any of these matte shadows on the eyelid. I'm going to take the darker shade in the palette with the same brush, and I'm going to focus that in the outer corner. That definitely gave us a depth right away, and I'm going to bring that shade also on my lower lashes in the outer corner. It is blending absolutely beautiful, which I love that so much. All right, now when there's not a lot of product on the brush, I'm just going to try to blend it up with the previous shade, and I'm going to take a little bit of the previous shade as well, just so we can help it blend a little bit more. That looks absolutely beautiful. Now using my finger, I think that this is definitely the best way to use these shades. I am going to take the green shade. This one is really, really bright, and I'm going to tap it on my eyelid. So this is a beautiful shade because it's like a golden green kind of eyeshadow. Has a lot of sparkles to it as well. Okay, that is so gorgeous. You can definitely just leave it like this. Just add a little bit more of darkness in your lash line and just call it a day. But I actually want to deepen this green and for it to transition a little bit better. So I am going to take this shade with a clean finger, and I'm just going to tap it right here in the outer corner. And that's going to give us a little bit of more dimension. So once you move your eyes, you actually are able to see the difference from this bright green to this more grayish taupey green, which I really do like. Let's go ahead and take this brush right here, which is the R110 brush from What's Up Beauty. And I want something that is going to create a little bit more lightness. So I am going to take this shade right here. So that is definitely what I was looking for, and I'm just going to feather it in to meet with the green shade. So it doesn't have a lot of shimmer, but it is definitely doing the job on just brightening the inner corner. All right, and just to make sure that we do not lose the main color in this whole entire look, which is the green shade, let me go ahead and just go back to it and just add a little bit more. And with whatever is on this brush right here, I'm going to smoke my lower lashes. I'm not going to use any glitter or anything like that. I just want to use the darker shade. I'm going to take a little bit of this darker shade and just focusing that in the outer part of my eye for it to be a little bit more smoky. Going back with the inner corner shade, just gonna bring it in a little bit in the lower lashes, just a little bit. I'm going to use this really nice warmer kind of shade to tight line. This one is from Mercier and it's in the shade Cocoa, and I think that this is going to just make the look pop a little bit more. I'm going to tight line and also add it to my waterline. This shade right here to the brow bone, just to clean things up, and that is absolutely beautiful. I love this shade to just do a little cleanup. All right guys, so here we have the first look, and as you can see I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades on this look right here, and you can definitely make it work. You can make it look really nice and beautiful and blend it out. It really looks absolutely stunning. So just make sure that you can imagine it like copy and paste so you guys can kind of picture the whole entire look. But here we have the first look. All right, so now let's go ahead and work on this eye right here. With this side of the palette, it seems to be a little bit more on the like neutral kind of everyday look for sure. I absolutely love this color right here. It's like so yummy. I am going to try to clean all the brushes that I use just to make sure that there's no pigment to it. I do have a little Sigma like switch brush, and I love this one so much because it helps me whenever I am doing multiple looks. R103 brush, and I'm going to use this shade right here. It's a little bit warmer than the one that we were using on this side. Okay, this shade is so beautiful. I can definitely see myself just using this shade by itself and then pretty much calling it a look. I'm going to focus this shade in the outer corner, bringing it down to my lower lashes, just extending it out and just creating that shape. Once I do not have a lot of product on the brush, I'm going to start bringing it in and up to make sure that we blend it. That is beautiful. I'm going to use a little bit of this pinky one with the same brush. I cleaned it off just so we can blend it even further. Has a little bit more pinkiness to it, a little rosiness. So just going to bring it right on the edges of the first shade. Look at that, not so pretty. Bringing it in on our crease. All right, I'm just going to add a little bit of this shade in the outer corner just to give us a little tiny depth in the outer corner, like very, very tiny. Going to clean it off just so I can blend it. And I'm using all of these shadows with the same brush. All right, guys, so I am going to take this bronzy shade and I'm going to add it to my eyelid right in the center, meeting with the darker shade that we have in the outer corner, and I'm really going to just keep it right here, right on the center. So it does have a little bit of something special to the eyeshadow, but I do feel like it's not as ethereal as the other eyeshadow palettes that I do have from his Ethereal Eyes line. Less glittery for sure, so if you are into that, you don't want something that is like super glittery, even if it's like super finely milled, you just don't like it, maybe just a little bit but not too much, then this is definitely going to be the palette for you. I'm going to take now this shade right here again with my finger, and I'm just going to add it to the inner part of my eye. It does feel like it's more on the matte side once you actually start placing it on the eyelid. Yeah, look at that. That definitely has a lot of brightness. Even though it does seem like it has a little bit of shimmer, it really doesn't show up like that on the eyelids. It's more of a matte. Clean this off a little bit, blend it into the shade in the middle. And now just going back with this shade right here, which is the one that we had in the center, just to make sure that we didn't lose it. And it's a really nice transition to one another. All right, I'm just going to add a little bit of this one right on the outer part of my eye right here. I don't think it's gonna give us a lot of depth because I do feel like this one and this one on the eyes, they're going to look not too much of a difference to one another, but I'm going to add it just right here in the outer part and then adding it and just going back with the middle shade just to make sure that we are blending those two together. So it gives you a little bit of definition, but not, you know, it's not like, whoa, they are completely different shades. But I'm gonna tell you right now that I do not like shades like this ones right here, like burgundies, at all. In any of my eyeshadow palettes, it's just not a shade that, you know, like catches my attention, that I'm like dying to use it. Actually, I just ignore it and never use it. Same thing with these type of like bronzy kind of cool tone shades. Same thing, it's just not my style of shades, but we have to have a little bit of something for everybody, I guess. So let's go ahead and now use this shade, but we're going to use it as an eyeliner, and it does have like a dark base to it. I'm going to be using the What's Up Beauty R112, and I'm going to add it on my lash line, yeah, for a little pop of something. And I'm going to build this color up to the most that I can so it can actually show up. I'm going to tie line with the same liner. Going to take a pencil brush, and this one is the R101 brush, and I'm going to take the same shade, this one right here, and I'm going to smoke it out on my lower lashes, like really, really tight. I'm going to take the darker shade with the pencil brush, and I'm just going to focus this shade in the outer corner. I'm just going to clean up the fallout. I am going to add a little bit of the redness, you'll see where, just because I do feel like it's not showing up, and I think that that is another color that is like here, like for a pop of color. So I'm going to go back to this brush right here, and I'm going to take some of that. I'm just going to add it right on my crease on the center. Okay, so that is very subtle. Still shows up very, very subtle, but it gives it a little bit of a twist, and it kind of just goes and flows with the whole entire look. But yeah, here we have two different looks. I am going to do my lashes, my base off camera, and then I come back and show you the final look for this one. So I love being like super dramatic with the eyes and keeping it really nice and simple on the face. Yeah, we do have a lot of makeup, a lot of layers, because I actually did creams and powders today, and I wanted to do more of a reddish kind of a blush because I want my cheeks to stand out as well, just because dramatic looks can definitely wash off your face. So that's when you really want to apply like blush and just match it to your lipstick. That's why I added a little bit of this on the lips in the outer corner, just so it can just, you know, kind of flow together, have a little bit more of a cohesiveness. So once you have your whole entire makeup, that's when you can really see the beauty of this palette, like the color story. Your eyes just stand out. They are absolutely stunning, and I really do like the way that they actually blend. The quality of these matte shadows are absolutely phenomenal. Love the way that they just work so nicely. They are definitely pigmented, but not pigmented enough that it's going to make a mess. You are able to blend them out, and they're just super easy to work with, and I love that so much. So this palette is definitely a win for me, but I do gotta be honest with you guys, comparing it to the other two eyeshadow palettes from the Ethereal line, I do gotta say that the formula seems to be a little bit different. They are not like super glittery, like ethereal, like I've mentioned to you guys throughout the video. It just is not giving me that, okay? There's other eyeshadows in, especially on his first palette, the second one too, but especially on the first palette that I just could not get enough. It is more of that like wet look. Oh my goodness, this shade is everything. It's more of a wet look. It doesn't have a lot of base, but it definitely gives you something special on the eyes, and I just don't think that we have this formula in particular on this palette. I'm not seeing it. I am not seeing it, and I fell in love with that palette just for that shade alone. It is like wet on the eyes. It does seem that this one does have a little bit of a glaze to it, but it does not give me what the first palette did. And even the second one was really nice and cool tone as well. You do have to like your blues in order for you to be able to like really enjoy the Moonlight palette, but even the second one is just so nice and glossy. Again, very reflective. It just gives you something special on the eyes. It is so beautiful, and I'm just not getting that from this palette. Does it look absolutely beautiful? Yes. Do I like the two looks that I created? Absolutely yes. Am I going to reach for this palette as much as I reached for the first one? Maybe not. Maybe for the mattes, okay? The mattes definitely got me on this palette. I really think that I enjoy the mattes from this palette versus the other palettes that he has. Okay, maybe not the first one. But definitely the second one, I do really enjoy like these shades. They have a little bit of like, I don't know, warmness to it, like caramelly. They're not too cool tone. They're not too warm and obnoxious either. They're just like perfect right there in the middle. And it's just the shimmer shades that kind of like just fell short a little bit in this palette versus the other two palettes that I do have from the Ethereal line. But you guys, that is it for this video. I hope that it was helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your love, your time, and support. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys have not already, and I will see you next time.